The massive alien vessel hung in Earth's orbit, like a spiked obsidian knife. Its arrival had silenced humanity's ceaseless bickering, replacing political squabbles with collective dread. Commander Ellie Drake stared at the tactical display aboard the UES Intrepid, Earth's flagship defender, which seemed laughably inadequate against the alien dreadnought. "Sir, they're broadcasting again. Same message as before," Lieutenant Rivera reported, voice tight with tension. Drake nodded. "Put it through." The alien commander appeared on screen, a towering figure with armored exoskeletal plates and 4 glowing eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. Its mandibles clicked in what linguistic experts had determined was their language's equivalent of formal speech. "Humans of Earth, you have 24 hours remaining to surrender your world. The Drelmech Empire claims this system as its own. Resistance will result in sterilization of your biosphere." The transmission cut abruptly. Drake's jaw clenched as she turned to Admiral Harrison, who had been silently observing from the side. "Admiral, Project Prometheus is ready," she said quietly. Harrison's weathered face remained impassive. "You're certain it will work?" "No," Drake admitted, "but we've exhausted every diplomatic channel. They refuse negotiation. They've destroyed our lunar colony as a demonstration. This is our last option." The Admiral nodded grimly. "The Security Council has given authorization. Execute when ready." Drake's finger hovered over the command console. Project Prometheus wasn't a weapon, not in the conventional sense. After decades of theoretical physics research following the discovery of the Higgs boson, humanity had stumbled upon something extraordinary: a method of manipulating quantum states across vast distances instantaneously. "Lieutenant, begin Prometheus protocol," Drake ordered. Throughout Earth's defensive network, quantum transmitters activated, sending invisible, undetectable signals directly into the alien vessel systems, not to attack, but to communicate in a way they couldn't ignore. Aboard the Drelmech flagship, Supreme Commander Voktar felt a strange sensation wash over him. Not physical, but a sudden intrusion of foreign thoughts. Images flooded his consciousness. Earth's history, culture, art, and most disturbingly, warfare. The humans were showing him everything: their brutality, their compassion, their relentless creativity when threatened. Then came the message that made his blood run cold. "We apologize," the human transmission began, "for what we are about to do if you force our hand. We regret it deeply." Voktar scoffed. What could these primitives possibly? The transmission showed him exactly what. Project Prometheus wasn't just communication technology. It was the culmination of humanity's desperate ingenuity, a quantum displacement field that could instantly reorganize matter at the subatomic level across vast distances. The mathematics behind it unfolded in Voktar's mind with terrible clarity. With mounting horror, he realized the humans weren't bluffing. Their technology was unlike anything in the Drelmech arsenal, not more advanced overall, but developed along a completely different path, one his empire had never explored. The humans could, with a single command, transmute the very atoms of his vessel's power core into inert elements. They could do the same to every Drelmech ship that entered the system. And they were genuinely sorry about it. Supreme Commander Voktar's mandibles twitched nervously as he faced the Drelmech Imperial Council through a quantum link. His flagship remained in Earth orbit, but now under very different circumstances than he had anticipated. "You claim these humans possess technology that can neutralize our entire fleet," Arch-General Mulvik demanded, his scaled crest flaring with skepticism. "Not just neutralize," Voktar replied. "They can fundamentally alter matter across space without direct contact. They demonstrated on one of our scout vessels, transmuted its dry core elements into inert material in seconds. The vessel is intact but completely unpowered." The council chamber fell silent. The Drelmech Empire had conquered 17 species across 3 spiral arms, all following a predictable pattern: overwhelming force, demands for surrender, then subjugation or extermination. Never had they encountered a species with such an unexpected defensive capability. "How did primitives who have barely left their own planet develop such technology?" asked Science Director Elith. "That's what's most concerning," Voktar said. "They didn't develop it as a weapon. Their quantum manipulation research was purely theoretical until our arrival. They adapted existing technology in just 7 of their days." Back on Earth, Commander Drake monitored the alien vessels with growing concern. The scout ships were pulling back, forming a defensive perimeter around the mothership. Military analysts suggested they were preparing for a new approach. "Admiral, I think they're calling for reinforcements," Drake said. Harrison nodded grimly. "The question is whether they believe us about Prometheus's full capabilities." The truth was complicated. Project Prometheus could indeed alter matter at quantum level, but its range was limited, and using it at full capacity would drain Earth's entire power grid. They had disabled one scout ship as a demonstration, but neutralizing the entire fleet would be impossible. It was a bluff, albeit one based on genuine technology. "They're sending another transmission," Lieutenant Rivera announced. The alien commander appeared again, but his demeanor had changed. The imperious confidence was replaced with something closer to wary respect. "Humans of Earth," Vokhtar began, "we propose a diplomatic exchange. Our emissaries will meet with your leaders to discuss terms." Drake exchanged glances with Harrison. "Progress, but not victory," the admiral murmured. "Sir," a young analyst interrupted, "we're detecting unusual energy signatures from the mothership. They're scanning us deeply, trying to peer through our bluff." Drake's stomach tightened. How much can they determine about Prometheus's limitations? "Unknown, but their technology is advanced. Given enough time." "Then we don't give them time," Harrison decided. "Accept the diplomatic overture, but on our terms, and prepare Phase 2. Phase 2 was even more audacious than the first. While Prometheus had been developed by quantum physicists, Phase 2 came from Earth's anthropologists and psychologists, a different kind of weapon altogether. As Drake issued orders, the Drelmac continued their scans, increasingly puzzled by what they found. Humans should have been cowering, desperate to appease their would-be conquerors. Instead, they detected something profoundly unsettling. The humans were afraid, yes, but not of the Drelmac. They were afraid of themselves, of what they might become if forced to fight for survival. The neutral meeting ground was an orbital platform hastily constructed between Earth and lunar orbit. Commander Drake stood among Earth's diplomatic team, watching as the Drelmac shell docked with precise, mechanical movements. Her hand rested near her sidearm, a symbolic gesture at best against beings whose exoskeletons could likely withstand conventional bullets. Supreme Commander Vokhtar led the alien delegation, his imposing frame ducking through the airlock. 3 other Drelmac followed, their eyes constantly scanning, assessing. "Welcome," said UN Secretary General Okafor. Stepping forward, "We'd appreciate your willingness to engage in dialogue." Vokhtar's translator processed her words. "The Drelmac Empire does not typically negotiate with species marked for integration," he replied bluntly. "Your defensive capabilities have earned you this consideration." Drake noted how carefully he avoided mentioning Project Prometheus directly. Their scans must have revealed something concerning, but not enough to confirm or deny their suspicions about its limitations. The meeting proceeded into a conference room, where both delegations sat opposite each other. The humans presented terms. Earth and its colonies would remain sovereign, and in exchange, limited technological and resource trade could be established. "Unacceptable," Vokhtar stated flatly. "The Empire requires access to your quantum manipulation technology." "That's not on the table," Harrison replied. "But we could discuss other exchanges." As the negotiations continued, Drake received a subtle alert through her neural implant. The Drelmac mothership was deploying small probes toward Earth, likely attempting to gather more intelligence on Prometheus. "Sir," she whispered to Harrison, "we need to activate Phase 2 now." With a nearly imperceptible nod, Harrison gave the authorization. Throughout Earth's military installations, specialized broadcast systems activated, sending carefully crafted messages directly to every Drelmac vessel. It wasn't an attack, but something arguably more potent. The truth about humanity, unfiltered and raw. The broadcast showed Earth's history, its brutal wars, its moments of extraordinary cooperation. It showed humans sacrificing themselves for strangers, and humans committing atrocities against their own kind. It displayed their art, their poetry about both love and war, their capacity for both compassion and cruelty. Most importantly, it revealed what truly terrified even the humans themselves: their adaptability when cornered. Species that had evolved under Earth's competitive conditions had developed something the Drelmac Empire had never encountered: an almost pathological refusal to accept defeat, combined with boundless creativity in crisis. Among the Drelmac delegation, confusion spread as they received emergency communications from their fleet. Vokhtar's eyes narrowed at the humans. "What are you doing?" he demanded. Secretary General Okafor smiled gently. "Simply introducing ourselves properly. You came to conquer a primitive species and found instead a paradox. Beings who develop theoretical physics alongside poetry, who create medicine and munitions with equal ingenuity, and who apologize," Drake added quietly, "not from weakness, but because we genuinely regret the necessity of what we might be forced to do." Vokter studied her with all four eyes. "Your Prometheus technology. It has limitations we can detect." "Yes," Drake admitted candidly, "but ask yourself this. If we developed that technology in mere days after your arrival, what might we develop given weeks? Months?" The implications hung in the air like a blade. Aboard the Drelmac mothership, the Imperial High Council convened an emergency quantum link session. The chamber was filled with tension as Supreme Commander Vokter presented his findings. "These humans," he explained, displaying holographic data, "have developed along an evolutionary path we've never encountered. Their planet's high gravity, atmospheric oxygen content, and intense competition among species has created beings with remarkable attributes." Science Director Elif leaned forward. "Our biological assessment confirms this. Their endurance exceeds any known sentient species. They can continue functioning despite injuries that would incapacitate our warriors, and their pattern recognition abilities are concerning. More concerning," added Intelligence Marshal Krovak, "is their psychological profile. 17 conquered species, all followed predictable patterns when facing superior technology. These humans instead immediately began adapting our own scanning frequencies against us. On the main display, footage showed human children playing complex games, human adults creating art, and human scientists working on theoretical models. Interspersed were scenes from their history, desperate last stands against overwhelming odds, innovative solutions to seemingly impossible problems. They call it thinking outside the box," Vokter said. "Their history is filled with inferior forces defeating superior ones through unconventional approaches." Arch-General Malvik's crest flattened in dismissal. "This sentimentality is unbecoming, Commander. Their Prometheus technology has limitations. Our analysis suggests it cannot target more than one vessel simultaneously and requires enormous power expenditure." "That is correct," Vokter acknowledged. "But we've detected evidence they're already developing a more efficient version. Their rate of technological adaptation is unprecedented." Back on Earth, Commander Drake monitored the alien fleet's movements while reviewing Phase 3 preparations, the final contingency if negotiations failed. Unlike the previous phases, Phase 3 was genuinely offensive. Targeted biological agents designed specifically for Drelmac physiology, developed from the biological samples they collected from the alien diplomatic team. Drake took no pleasure in these preparations. The weapons designers had created something terrible, a virus that would render the Drelmac sterile, while otherwise leaving them unharmed. It wasn't extinction, but rather the promise of it. "One generation removed. Commander," Lieutenant Rivera called, "we're detecting unusual activity from the mothership." On the tactical display, the massive alien vessel was powering down weapon systems. Smaller craft were being recalled. "They're withdrawing," Harrison said, disbelief evident in his voice. The communication system chimed. Supreme Commander Vokter's image appeared, his posture notably different, less rigid, more reserved. "The Drelmac Empire has reassessed the strategic value of this solar system," he stated formally. "We will be departing your territory." Drake stepped forward. "Commander Vokter, may I ask what prompted this decision?" The alien was silent for a moment. "Your apology," he finally said. "We've conquered many worlds, Commander Drake. Always there is defiance, then fear, then pleading. Never have we encountered a species that expressed regret for what they might do to us." His four eyes focused intently on her. "It suggests you understand yourselves in ways few species do. You know your capacity for terrible action, yet maintain ethical constraints despite it. That combination is unpredictable." As the Drelmac fleet prepared for departure, an unexpected request came through. Supreme Commander Vokter wished to meet with Commander Drake alone, with significant security precautions. The meeting was arranged aboard the neutral orbital platform. Drake found Vokter standing before a viewport, his armored form silhouetted against Earth's blue sphere. "Your world is beautiful," he said without turning. "Chaotic, but beautiful. Most beautiful things are chaotic up close," Drake replied, stopping at a respectful distance. Voktar turned to face her. I asked for this meeting because I owe you a warning, Commander. The Empire will report your species' capabilities to the Galactic Concord. The Galactic Concord. Drake felt a chill. This was the first confirmation of a larger interstellar political structure. An alliance of 27 spacefaring civilizations. The Empire is merely one power among several. Voktar's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. Your Prometheus technology violates several Concord treaties regarding weapons development, despite being defensive in nature. Drake processed this information carefully. You're saying we may face judgment from this Concord? Eventually, yes. But that is not my primary warning. Voktar stepped closer. The Concord maintains balance through predictability. Species advance along expected technological paths, develop and recognize patterns. Those that don't, those like yours, are considered chaotic elements. And what happens to chaotic elements? Drake asked, though she suspected the answer. They are contained, studied, sometimes. He didn't finish the sentence. Drake met his alien gaze steadily. Then why tell me this? Why not leave us to our fate? Because your apology was genuine. Voktar said simply. In 3 centuries of military service, I have never encountered a species that developed a weapon they themselves feared using. It suggests a level of self-awareness that is rare in the cosmos. He produced a small crystalline device and placed it on the table between them. This contains navigational data for systems beyond your current detection capabilities. Systems where other chaotic elements have found refuge from Concord attention. Drake stared at the device, understanding its immense value. Why would you risk this? The Empire conquers to bring order, Voktar explained. But order without adaptation eventually fails. The Concord has grown, stagnant. Perhaps humanity's chaotic influence has value I cannot yet see. As Drake reached for the device, Voktar added, One more thing, Commander. Your Phase 3 contingency, the biological agent targeting our reproductive capabilities, it would have worked, and it represents precisely the kind of thinking that terrifies the Concord. Drake's hand froze midair. How did you know about that? We didn't, until now. Voktar's mandibles clicked in what the linguistics team had identified as their equivalent of a grim smile. But I suspect it. It's what I would have done in your position. A weapon that ensures victory without requiring immediate violence. He stepped back. Prepare your people, Commander Drake. The Empire respects your boundaries now, but others will come. And not all will be deterred by an apology, no matter how terrifying its implications. 1 year after the Drelmac departure, Earth had changed profoundly. The knowledge that humanity was not alone in the universe, and potentially in danger from a galactic concord, had united former adversaries in unprecedented cooperation. Commander Drake, now Admiral Drake, stood in the observation deck of Earth's first true interstellar vessel, the UBS Prometheus. Below her, engineers and scientists made final preparations for its maiden voyage. Hard to believe we built this in just a year, Admiral Harrison remarked, joining her at the viewport. Drake nodded. Amazing what humans can accomplish when properly motivated. The Prometheus represented humanity's greatest achievement, a ship incorporating both traditional propulsion systems and refined versions of the quantum manipulation technology that had deterred the Drelmac. Its mission: to locate the chaotic elements Voktar had mentioned and establish potential alliances. The Security Council has approved your final mission parameters, Harrison said, handing her a secure tablet. You have considerable autonomy, but primary directive remains clear. Find allies, not conquests. Drake reviewed the crew manifest, a carefully selected team of military personnel, scientists, diplomats, and cultural specialists. Earth's finest, representing humanity's balance of strength and restraint. What still bothers me, Drake said, returning the tablet, is why Voktar helped us. Was it respect? Strategy? Something else entirely? Harrison's weathered face remained impassive. Intelligence suggests the Drelmac Empire is facing internal pressures. Their conquest-based expansion model is failing. Perhaps Voktar sees in humanity a potential ally against the Concord's stagnation, or a useful distraction while they regroup. Drake countered. Either way, we proceed as planned. As launch preparations continued, Drake received a notification on her neural implant, a final intelligence report on Drelmac fleet movements. Their vessels had withdrawn to their core systems, but long-range sensors had detected unusual activity near the borders of what Vokhtar had identified as Concord space. Something was happening out there. Whether the Drellmac were preparing for conflict with the Concord or simply fortifying their positions remained unclear. What was clear? Humanity needed to establish itself among the stars before becoming caught in interstellar politics it barely understood. Hours later, Drake addressed the Prometheus crew before departure. 1 year ago, an alien empire came to Earth expecting our surrender, she began. What they received instead was an apology that revealed something fundamental about humanity. We understand our capacity for both creation and destruction, and we choose restraint not from weakness, but from wisdom. She looked at the assembled faces, representing nations that had been adversaries just months earlier. We venture into space not as conquerors, not as victims, but as explorers and potential allies to those who share our values. The galaxy may see us as chaotic elements, unpredictable and dangerous. Perhaps we are, but chaos is also the foundation of creativity, of innovation, of growth. Drake activated the ship's main display, showing their planned journey using the navigational data Vokhtar had provided. Our mission is to find others like us, species that have chosen their own evolutionary and technological paths. Together, perhaps we can demonstrate that diversity strengthens rather than threatens galactic civilization. As the Prometheus broke free of Earth's gravity well and prepared for its first interstellar jump, Drake thought about the nature of humanity's entrance onto the cosmic stage. They had not arrived with overwhelming force or technological superiority. They had not conquered or been conquered. They had simply refused to be predictable, had taken theoretical physics, and, in a moment of desperation, turned it into a shield, had faced extinction and developed a countermeasure so elegantly terrible it gave even their would-be conquerors pause. And most importantly, they had apologized for what they might become if pushed too far. A self-awareness that ironically made them more, not less, dangerous in the eyes of a galactic community that prized order above all else. As the stars blurred around them, and the Prometheus leaped into the unknown, Drake understood that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't Prometheus technology or biological agents, or even their relentless adaptability. It was their capacity to understand themselves, their darkness and their light, and still choose to reach for the stars not with clenched fists, but with open hands. Ready, if necessary, to clench those hands into fists, and genuinely sorry about it.